Have you ever walked into a room and felt like every pair of eyes was already judging you before you even sat down? That was me on Christmas Eve, standing at my parents' doorway with a gift in my hand and a knot in my stomach. And the worst part? I already knew something humiliating was waiting for me inside. But I had no idea just how far my sister would go, or how spectacularly it would backfire. The house was glowing with warm lights, laughter echoing from the dining room, and the smell of cinnamon and roasted turkey floating through the air. A perfect scene. A perfect family. Except, well, not for me. Not tonight. Chloe had been bragging for weeks about bringing her new CEO boyfriend, Daniel, to Christmas dinner. She practically treated the event like her own personal red carpet. And me? I was the inconvenient supporting character she loved to step on for dramatic effect. Still, I walked in, smiled, tried to convince myself things would be different this year. But then I saw the way Chloe's eyes flickered when she spotted me, the smirk forming before she even opened her mouth, and I knew something ugly was coming. What I didn't know was that Daniel had already noticed everything. It started the moment I stepped fully into the dining room, like the universe wanted to confirm that yes, tonight was absolutely going to test me. Have you ever felt someone's judgment before they even speak? That's exactly what Chloe radiated. Her smile wasn't warm. It wasn't kind. It was sharpened, polished, and ready to cut. "Look who finally made it," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. Not a greeting. More like an announcement. And not the good kind. My parents glanced over. My mom gave a tight smile. My dad barely nodded. But Daniel, Chloe's CEO boyfriend, he watched me differently. Not with disdain. Not with pity. More like curiosity. You know that look someone gives when they're trying to understand the real story behind the room? That's the look he had. Chloe immediately looped her arm through his, talking fast, guiding him around the table like she was presenting a product she was proud of. And every few seconds, she glanced back at me, checking to see if I was watching her performance. The digs started small. Subtle. Just enough to sting, not enough to call out. "Oh, Ava, you probably wouldn't get this. It's a corporate thing. You're still figuring things out, right?" Tiny darts. Each landing exactly where she wanted. But Daniel remained silent. Observing. Filing things away. And just when I thought Chloe was done warming up, she lifted her glass, tapped it loudly, and prepared to deliver the line that would flip the entire night on its head. Have you ever witnessed someone cross a line so boldly that the entire room seemed to pause? That's exactly what happened when Chloe tapped her glass, raised her chin, and locked eyes with me like she was about to present the highlight of her evening. She didn't ease into it. She didn't soften it. She aimed and fired. "To everyone here," she announced, her voice syrupy sweet, "I just want to introduce my sister Ava, the family's ongoing disappointment." You could feel the air change. The laughter stopped. The forks froze midair. My mom let out a stunned laugh, like she wasn't sure whether to be embarrassed or entertained. My dad shifted in his seat, but said nothing. And Daniel, he didn't move at all. He just watched Chloe closely, his expression unreadable. Inside, my heart slammed against my ribs. Isn't it strange how humiliation feels physically heavy? Like someone placed a stone on your chest and dared you to breathe under it? I swallowed hard and forced a small smile, trying not to let the sting show. But Chloe wasn't done. She leaned forward, lowering her voice just enough to sound intimate and just loud enough for everyone to hear. "At least you showed up this year," she added. "Small victories, right?" The room went painfully still. And that's when Daniel finally shifted in his seat, his eyes narrowing not at me, but at her. What he said next would change the entire direction of the night. Have you ever watched someone's confidence drain out of them in real time? That's exactly what happened the moment Daniel tilted his head, looked straight at Chloe, and spoke with a calmness that somehow felt dangerous. "Interesting choice of words," he said quietly. Chloe blinked. Once. Twice. Her smirk faltered, just a little. My parents shifted again, sensing something was off, but pretending nothing was. I didn't say a word. Honestly, I didn't even breathe. Because Daniel wasn't looking at me. He was studying Chloe like someone reviewing a resume with missing pages. "You treat your sister like this?" he asked, voice still steady. "In front of your family?" Chloe let out a shaky laugh. "Oh, come on, babe. It's just a joke. Ava knows I'm kidding. Do you know that tone people use when they suddenly realize they've misread the room?" That was the tone she had now. But Daniel wasn't buying it. "You know," he continued, leaning back in his chair, "I've seen you behave like this at work too." The entire table tensed. Chloe went pale. I felt my stomach flip. "My coworkers have mentioned concerns," he added, "about how you treat people you think are beneath you." Chloe's hand gripped her wine glass so tightly I thought it might snap. "But don't worry," Daniel said, reaching into his jacket. "I brought something you should probably see." And then he pulled out his phone and opened an email with her name right at the top. Have you ever seen someone afraid to even touch their own future? That's what it looked like when Daniel slid his phone across the table. Chloe stared at it as if tapping the screen would detonate her entire life. And, in a way, it would. "Go ahead," Daniel said softly. "Read it." His tone wasn't cruel. That almost made it worse. Because calm truth can cut deeper than loud anger. Chloe's fingers trembled as she picked up the phone. Her eyes scanned the email, moving fast at first, then slowing, then stopping completely. Her breath hitched. No, this has to be a mistake," she whispered. My parents leaned in. My mom's hand flew to her mouth. My dad sat rigid, like he wasn't sure whether to intervene or pretend it wasn't happening. I watched, stunned, as Chloe's face crumpled, not from sadness, but from disbelief. Because the email wasn't vague. It wasn't a warning. It wasn't a discussion. It was a termination notice. Effective immediately. Daniel cleared his throat. HR wanted to inform you privately, but after tonight, I think it's best everything's on the table. Chloe shook her head, desperate. "Daniel, please, this can't be real." I give that company everything." Daniel nodded slowly. "And sometimes giving everything doesn't excuse how you treat people." Chloe turned to me then, eyes pleading, like I could somehow save her. But before I could even react, Daniel stood up and said something that made the entire room shift. "Before anything else," Daniel said, looking directly at me, "I want to apologize to you, Ava. No one deserves to be spoken to the way you were tonight." And, just like that, the entire room froze. My parents stared at him as if he'd spoken a language they'd never heard. Chloe looked between him and me, stunned, like the world had tilted and she couldn't find her balance anymore. I didn't gloat. I didn't smirk. I didn't say, "See? This is what happens." Instead, I just sat there, finally feeling seen. It was strange, after years of being the quiet one, the overlooked one, the one brushed aside, this moment wasn't about revenge. It was about truth finally catching up to someone who had been running from it. Daniel placed a gentle hand on the back of my chair before stepping away. "People show you who they are when they think no one important is watching," he said. Tonight proved a lot. Have you ever realized that some gifts don't come wrapped? Some come in the form of clarity, justice, and finally being acknowledged. As the night wound down, I walked out of that house feeling lighter than I had in years. And for once, Christmas actually felt like a gift.